So now we are going to talk about the Chief Minister and Council of Ministers. The Chief Minister is appointed by the governor. Okay, the governor appoints the Chief Minister, and obviously the governor appoints the leader of the majority party as the Chief Minister. So let us say a particular party won the election. Okay, let's say this year BJP won the election. So out of that, the leader of the party is selected as the is selected as a chief minister by the governor. It's basically the choice of all the ministers who are there, who basically tells the governor that we want this person to be our chief minister, and that's how chief minister is selected. If no single party gets the majority, the leader of combination of parties constitute the major or leader of the largest party having the support of the majority is appointed as the chief minister. So what they are saying is that, let's say ki there's no single party that was able to win clear election. Sometimes what happens, two parties, they join hands in order to form the government. For example, look at Maharashtra. It has Congress and Shiv Sena together. Okay, so sometimes when there is no single party majority, let's say when there are two combination of parties that are there, at that time whichever leader has the majority, whichever leader has the maximum support becomes the leader. Okay, and sometimes the largest party becomes the leader. Obviously, larger the party, larger the votes, larger the support. That is why that person becomes the chief minister. Other members of the council of ministers are appointed by the governor on the advice of the chief minister. Though the administration of state is carried out in the name of the governor, in reality the chief minister and the council of ministers enjoy most of the powers of the governor. So what they are trying to say is that once the chief minister is selected and the council of ministers are selected, after that various positions are appointed by the governor on the advice of the chief minister. In reality, the higher position is of a governor, but more powers are in the hands of chief minister. In Gujarat, the office of Chief Minister and Cabinet Minister is situated in New Secretariat, Swami Sankul Gandhinagar. So this is the area where you have the Vidhan Sabha. Okay, the governor administers the oath of secrecy to the Chief Minister and the Council of Ministers orally, and then after they sign the name. So what happens once the chief minister and the council of ministers are selected? What they do is that they sign their name, okay, and they take an oath of secrecy. Oath of secrecy means they say that will not do corruption. They take oath એટલે પ્રાણ લે. Okay, આવી રીતના આપણે કહીએ all Indians are my brothers and sisters, and that is called oath. Okay, so these people also take an oath that they will serve the state, to the fullest. Council of Minister, okay, and after they take an oath, they sign. In the state cabinet minister, there are 4 types of minister. So at state level, there are 4 types of minister: cabinet, state level, deputy level, parliamentary secretary. So these are the positions of the ministers which are there. The chief minister distributes the portfolios to the cabinet of ministers. Similarly, various departments are given to the council of ministers by the chief minister and the governor. He also presents the issue of the policy making, transparent administration, questions of the people of the central government. So it makes the policy, it makes sure that administration is transparent એટલે there is no corruption, and also whatever questions or whatever issues of the people are there, they take it to the parliament and represent those issues at the parliament. He provides a strong leadership to the state legislature. So he provides a strong leadership. Provides basic amenities, love and care to the people. Basically works for the people. Okay. He provides a strong leadership to the state legislature. The chief minister is a torch bearer and a pathfinder of the government policy regarding the growth of the state. So if a particular state has to grow, if a particular state has to become nice, its chief minister has much more job than a governor. Now we are going to talk about the administrative executives. The political executive frames various policy in different fields. Okay, you know that there are two administrators, political administrators and political executives and administrative executives. Okay, so what does the political executive do? They frame the policies in different areas like agriculture, education, transport. Okay, so in different areas policies are formed by the political executive. The detailed and effective implementation of these policies done by the administrative executive. So what they are saying, that implementation, making sure that these policies are followed by all, is done by the administrative executive. The administrative executive advises and guides the state executives in matters of policy. So the administrative executive who is there, they advise the political executives on what kind of policies they can make for the people, for the state. It provides information and figures. It gives information and figures to the government. The political executive is not bound to follow the advice of it. Obviously, the administrative executive just gives the advice. Whether to follow this advice or not is totally in the hands of the political executive. Okay, એ લોકોને advice લેવી હશે તો લેશે, નહીં લેવી હોય તો નહીં લે. No matter how important or welfare oriented are the policies, laws, if they are not effectively implemented by the administrative executive, then it's a purpose of marred. So what they are saying, that policies are basically made for the welfare of the people, right? Like policies are made for making sure that the people are benefited from it. But let's say the administrative executive does not follow the policy, or let's say the administrative executive is not making sure that the policies are implemented, then it becomes a very bad scene. Thus, administrative system provides the necessary backup to the executive in formation and implementation of policies. Okay, so administrative executive plays a very important role in making sure that the policies are introduced in the society. Expert and professionally efficient and experienced public servant in the fields of foreign relations, defense, security forces, international trade and commerce, nuclear energy, energy production, distribution, banking, insurance, foreign exchange are the backbone of the government. So these are all the administrative jobs that are there. Okay, and these jobs, they provide a backbone to our government. Okay, from all these things we get lot of income. So it's very important that good policies are formed and that policies should be implemented in it. Collector is appointed as an administrative head at district level, and his office is called Jila Seva Sadan. So the collector who is there, okay, he's the administrative head at district level. Okay, and any office is called as Jila Seva Sadan. Their expertise, knowledge, administrative insight, broad experience, prediction, administrative efficiency help them to carry out administration effectively, because the administrative executive have wide knowledge, they are well educated people. Okay, they have good experience. Okay, they have good knowledge, and that is the reason why they make sure that administration is carried out in proper manner, in proper way. From the organs of the government, the state executive acts as a brain behind the welfare of the people. Okay, the state executive, okay, they make sure that the welfare of the people is managed, whereas the administrative executive acts as a limbs. Okay, haath pag. State executive is the brain. Okay, that is the political executive is the brain, and haath pag is the administrative executive. An umbilical, meaning strong relation between political executive and administrative executive, is prerequisite for smooth governance, meaning that in order to make sure that the government runs smoothly, it's very important that political and administrative executive work together. The power and the influence of the government is becoming more centered in bureaucracy. What is happening is that government is becoming very, very strong in administration. Okay, nepotism, corruption, dishonesty, inefficiency, misconduct, escapism are the evils of bureaucracy. Bureaucracy means administration. Okay, so in administration there is nepotism. Nepotism એટલે, let's say my father is a collector, so after my father dies I'll become the collector. That is called nepotism. So there is problem of nepotism, there is problem of corruption, there is dishonesty. Okay, there is misconduct, meaning people don't behave properly, they don't function properly. These are some of the bad effects of bureaucracy or administration. So to control and separate department by the name of anti-corruption bureau, so to control and evils, Lokpal or Lokyukt is needed. Okay, so these are the new bills that have been passed in order to make sure such corruptions don't happen. To stop the corruption, Gujarat state government has started an entire separate department by the name of Anti-Corruption Bureau. Okay, it's there in Gandhinagar, and they check the corruption. This is the toll-free number on which you can file a complaint if you feel that particular person is not working properly or is taking money from you. Political stability is expected from administrative system. As there is a government comprising of different political parties, the administrative system helps to excel the development of the government by implementing various development schemes and programs. So what they are saying, political equality, political balance has to be there in the state legislative assembly, because in state legislative assembly there are going to be many political parties. Okay, some will be your enemies, some will be your friends. So there has to be a balance, and the administrative executives should make sure that they implement the policy for the welfare of the people. Now next is the governance at the local level. It is extremely difficult to carry governance of the entire nation from single place, as the central government has too many responsibilities. So you can't expect that one government at the Delhi level is going to at Delhi level is going to run the whole country. No, it has many responsibilities, it has many big tasks to do. Okay, the power is decentralized with objective to time and solve the problems. So that is why at every state level we have a government, because the Delhi government cannot look at each and every problem. That is why we have government at every state level, so that various problems can be solved. Needs of the people, expectations, aspirations of the people can be solved. That is why we have decentralized policy. What is decentralized policy? All the powers are not in the hands of the center. Even the state government has the right to make certain decisions. Even the state government has the right to take certain steps. By decentralizing the power, the administration can be carried out effectively and efficiently. For proper administration, for proper working, it is very important that we have powers distributed even at the state government level. At local level, the institution of local self-government have emerged. At local level, okay, at local level we have local government, like Bhavnagar has municipal corporations, villages have panchayats. So that is local self-government. Okay, when the administration in a village, town or city is carried out by the representative of people elected by the locals in the local institution, then such organizations are called institution of local self-governance. So let us say in a particular city, in a particular village, or in a particular town, okay, local people select their leader, then that process of forming the government at the local level is called the local self-government. For administrative efficiency, meaning for making sure that administration is carried out properly in all geographical region, the responsibility and the functioning of the governments are divided into local organizations. Similarly, municipality, municipal corporation, institution of local self-government, or urban areas, villages, one can find gram panchayat, taluka panchayat, district panchayat. So these are the small governments that are formed at every district, every village level, every city. Cities have municipality and municipal corporation. Okay, institutes of local self-governments are there in cities. Fine. At village you have gram panchayat, taluka panchayat, district panchayat. So all these are there at the local level in order to make sure that the functions are carried out properly. Institution of local self-governance gives training which is available for election, voting, duties, responsibilities, administration, ruling and opposing parties. So the local self-government, they give you training, okay, on how to hold elections, how to count voting, what are your duties, what are your responsibilities, how to carry out administration, what rules and regulations are there, etc. It gives an opportunities of self-development. Okay, obviously if at every level there is a government, then every level will be developed. As all policies are implemented at local level first, it gives a chance to improve the likeness at upper levels. So what they are saying is that all the policies are first introduced at small level. Okay, so at small level, when you introduce a particular policy, you'll come to know what are the positives, what are the negatives, and from the negatives you can improve. Therefore, local self-organization is known as the training school and laboratory of the constitution improvement in the democracy. So when you come to know that okay, our policy आ जगह successful रहे, so reasons successful रहा, our reasons ना लीधे successful रहा. So at Delhi level, at central level, if you want to introduce the policy to each and every state, then you can do so. Okay. In 1992, the entire country similar Panchayat Raj and urban institution of local self-government came into existence. So from 1992 onwards, at every level, at every state level, we have Panchayat Raj and we have urban at least city institution like municipal corporation, and all those institutions are there in India since 1992.